Chapter 5, Locating Myself. So, we all know that there is an I, there is an entity called me, I. Where is it? You may think, what all fantasy thoughts we are thinking. I am a surgeon, businessman, scientist, or a student. I feel weird thinking of these things: consciousness, illusion, the world is not real. Sounds like foolishness and time wastage. But hold on, I would like to call them thought experiments to discover the greatest and most valuable treasure of the universe. I would like to call us spiritual Einsteins. When someone asks me, who am I would say, I am this person with a unique personality and personal history, including my particular body and mind, whether good or bad, literate or illiterate. But really, who am I? The one who is experiencing this world. What is this entity called me? Am I this body? Am I this leg? This hand? If my hand or foot were cut, would that reduce my sense of self? Would it reduce my experiences or my feelings if my finger was cut? Would I reduce by 9% if one of my leg is cut? No. I always say my hand. I'd never say I am the hand. Yesterday, we went to the forensic department morgue. So, this is the incident from my graduation days back in 2004. So, I saw a small body covered with a sheet. I thought, so sad, it must be a child. But then the sheet was lifted, and we saw that it was a grown up man cut in half by a train. That struck me and made me think, suppose my own body is cut in half in an accident and I survive somehow. Will the feeling of I reduce to half? Would my thinking, desires, personality, and intelligence also reduce by half? Of course not. So, this clearly means I am not my body. If my finger is cut, I don't reduce by 1%. The body keeps on changing. The body gets healthy. The body gets sick. Sometimes it feels energetic or lazy. But I keep watching these changes in the body. Definitely, I am not this body. I saw my body when I was a teenager, when I had great hair. I saw my body when it was sick and then when it was healthy. The body changes. I don't change. So then, am I this mind? The mind is even more fickle than the body. The mind is always changing, sometimes focused, sometimes wandering, sometimes very spiritual, sometimes very materialistic. The mind is nothing but a series of thoughts. All sorts of thoughts arise and go, the good, the bad, the ugly. But I am always watching these thoughts. When I was young, we lived in a small village called Badrukha in Punjab. So, sitting on the Shiv Mandir wall, we could see the highway passing right in front of us. Occasionally, a vehicle would pass along. So, our game was we would pick up one side of the road. If any vehicle came from my side, I would punch my friend in his back. If a vehicle came from his side, he would punch me. So, these thoughts are like these passing vehicles. I'm just a peaceful observer, a spectator. Unless, of course, I start getting involved in these thoughts. And then it's trouble, a punch in the back. I'm the witness of this ever changing mind. The subject can never become the object. Since I am watching the mind, I can't be the mind. So then, am I the intellect, which is the decision making faculty inside me? The decisions that I'm making right now, the logic I'm using right now, am I that brain? Am I that intellect? So the decisions also keep on changing. The intellect also keeps on changing. Sometimes I don't understand a situation. and then suddenly I get it. Even my decisions keep on changing. In the same situation, sometimes the brain decides this, sometimes the other way. When I open a fridge, I see a mango. Sometimes I decide to have it, and sometimes I decide not to have it. I can observe the changing, unstable decisions of the intellect. So I'm not this intellect either. So, am I this personality which I have known for so long? The person called Vikram, this ego I believe I am. Am I this ego? This person has been changing right in front of me from childhood with all its foolishness and games to adulthood with all its ambitions and desires. I'm certainly watching this person who is known as Vikram, who is behaving as Vikram, but who is also changing for worse or for better every day. Sometimes I have a feeling of a superiority complex, and sometimes I feel guilty and inferior. I'm certainly the observer of this personality, this ego. I can't be me. Then who am I? Maybe I don't know. But at least there is something which I call I. There definitely is something. It is not shunya, it is not nothingness. There is something which is experiencing the ever changing world, the body, mind, ego. Right now, right here, there is an entity. You can doubt the existence of anything, any idea, any concept, but you cannot doubt one thing, your own existence. This I is right here, and you need no proof of this. You are your own proof. If there were nothing at all, even the question, who am I, does not exist. The existence of the question itself justifies the existence of the self. Let us analyze yourself. Please do not believe anybody. It is our own personal experience, our own conclusions. First, the self is permanent. The self is always there. In any situation, the self never goes away. The experience of the self will be the same even at 15 years, 50 years, or 90 years of age. Second, the self is self aware. You don't need any sense organ, any theory, machine, or concept to know your own self. If you are put in a sensory deprivation chamber, you will still be aware of yourself. Even in deep sleep, you are still there. That's how you report. I slept peacefully and had no dream. Third, everything changes, the world, body, mind, and ego. But the self never changes. It is a witness of these changing states. It is unchanging. Fourth, the self is bliss. Now, this is a little hard to grasp, but a simple observation is deep sleep. In deep sleep, there are no mind, no state, no thoughts, but still we say, I slept peacefully, I am energized, I am blissful. So that was the self. Fifth, the self is not in a dream, waking, or deep sleep state, but these three states are in the self. The world that we experience in our day to day life exists in self just like a dream world exists in me. The world is nothing but consciousness. If we can grasp this fact, it will be a paradigm shift in our day to day life. Sixth, the self is transcendent and immanent in the world. It pervades the world and still lies beyond it. Just like in a dream, the world is made of the dreamer himself, but the dreamer is still beyond the dream world. Nothing in the dream world can touch the dreamer. So, suppose I am dreaming, it's a daydream. I am imagining a certain situation in my daydream. So, I am in the entire dream. but still I am beyond the dream. So I am within the dream. So since it is my dream, it is not apart from me. How can it be apart from me? Since it is in my mind, I am dreaming it up. So I am immanent in my dream. But when the dream goes away, I don't go away. It means I am beyond the dream, transcending the dream. Seventh, it is an inside job. In fact, your own self is the only place you can find consciousness. Other people may feel conscious to us, but we have no way to confirm their consciousness. We can only indirectly infer that they are conscious. The only place you can experience this miracle called consciousness, in which this entire world, this dream, it emerges, stays, and vanishes. This is a miraculous thing. And the only place where you can experience this miracle is inside you. Not some external god, no guru, no prophet. That is a loud and clear message from ancient India. The self is you. Brahman is Atman. Eighth, this self is the existence itself. This is even harder to grasp. The claim that the entire world is appearing in consciousness and everything that exists is nothing but consciousness. In fact, consciousness is not an existing thing, it is existence itself. Ninth, whenever you try to experience the self, you will always experience a kind of peace and stillness. You can never experience the self without peace and stillness. So it's peace itself, Shanti. 10th, myself is the subject which experiences everything, but nothing can experience myself. It can never become the object of senses or mind. Balls in a box can never comprehend the box, but the box can fully comprehend the balls lying inside it. 11th, when you look at a ball, the ball is known object. You are the knower subject, and there is some abstract but existing entity called knowledge. This self is not the knower, not the known, but it is the knowledge itself. That abstract entity, which is knowledge, that is the self. And we use that knowledge, that awareness everywhere, every time, all the time, even in dream, even in deep sleep. Many aspects of the self can be experienced by normal people, like awareness, existence. We all know that. But its other aspects, like bliss, knowledge, infinitude, stillness, omnipresence, omniscience, and all powerfulness, these are more difficult to grasp. They are felt by us when our minds fulfill three important criteria. The mind should be pure, the mind should be introverted, and it should be focused. If these three criteria are not there, we cannot comprehend the self in its full aspect. Only when these three criteria are fulfilled, then the aspect of bliss, all controlling, and omnipresence also become evident, which right now to us they appear mystical. The next chapter will be chapter 6, which will be the nature of self. We will continue it next time.